Did you know that you could use Dollar Tree items to create high-end dupes? Well, you can. Hey, Bestie, this is Lisa. If you want to craft your best life with me, let's get started right now.
First one is this Barkeeper round tray. This is a set of two. I'm only going to make one, and it was $92 for two. So that's still $46 for one. I'm going to use these paint stir sticks that I ordered on Amazon, and they don't have the curvy part, so I really like them. And then I used two of the Hot Wheel tracks from the Dollar Tree, Waverly Paint Ink and Steel, and then the Folk Art Paint Metallic Silver. And what I'm going to do is start off with my Kills White primer, and I'm going to do almost 3 coats on both sides of these tracks. Now I cut one of them in half, then I added the steel color over the top after I had done several coats. And that's just to cover that white, but you only need to do 1 coat of that, because then I'm going to take the ink color and with a stiff brush, I'm just going to dab it all over, and I'm going to do that faux galvanized metal technique. Next comes white. I'm going to dab that all over, both sides, by the way, and then the metallic silver, and I'm going to dab that just to dull down the white and the black a little bit, and that's what kind of gives it that galvanized look. Now I'm going to take these 2 pieces of the track and I'm going to figure out how I'm going to attach them to each other. There's holes at both ends except for the one I cut. So I'm going to use my crocodile, which is also from Amazon, and I'm going to make a hole on that other end so I have something to attach it with. Then I'm going to line them up and see how that's going to look, and I'm going to mark it. And I'm going to take a blade and cut off the raised piece because I want it to lay flat on top of the other one when I overlap them. And by getting rid of that little raised piece of the track, I can accomplish that. And then I can use E6000 and hot glue combination and get those pieces to stick together. Then I'm going to take a clamp and hold them together, because otherwise it just pops off until it dries. And then I'm temporarily going to put a clamp on the other side until I'm ready to glue it. And I'm going to draw a circle on my paper that's just on my desk, because I need to create that wood base. So I'm going to use those paint stir sticks, and I'm going to start cutting them with my miter shears from Amazon. Now I'm using that circle that I drew on the paper as a way to determine how many pieces and how big I need them to be. And as I measure, I'm just drawing the lines where the circle will be. Now I'm going to glue them all together with a combination of hot glue and this liquid adhesive from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to wipe off the excess, and this is going to create my entire piece. Now I'm going to double check again the measurement. I'm going to put that ring over the top. I'm going to reinforce with some more glue. And then I'm going to use my blade, and I'm going to start cutting off the excess around that circle. You just score it till it all comes off piece by piece. Next, I'm going to sand my wood. I want to get rid of the pencil marks and anything else. Then I'm going to take the Antique Wax by Waverly, and I'm going to paint that on there and then wipe off the excess, basically to stain the wood. And I'm going to do that on both sides and around the edges. And now I'm going to take that ring that I created, and I'm going to do a combination of hot glue and E6000 to attach it all the way around. Next, I'm going to take my steel paint, and where the wood shows on the bottom, I'm just going to paint that with the steel so it all looks cohesive. I'm going to take some wired jute cord from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cut 2 pieces that will be the handles. And then I'm going to cut out of this tin baking pan from the Dollar Tree a couple of pieces that I'm going to wrap around each edge of those handles. And then I'm going to paint it all with the steel paint so it looks like it is metal that is welded on there, and the rope will actually look like a handle. And now I'm going to take my little thin pieces, wrap them around the edge of each side of that painted jute. And then once I'm done doing that and assembling them, I will hot glue them to each side of my tray. And I just use a little hot glue as I wrap it around the jute, and I attach it 2 times to make sure when I first start and at the end, that way it's on there good and it's not going to go anywhere. Next, I'm going to take these 2 little pop-up dots from the Dollar Tree stickers. I'm going to paint 2 of them steel. I'm going to cover the holes that were there on the tracks. And it's going to end up looking like, you know, a rivet or a bolt that's there. And it just looks like it's supposed to be there. And now I'm going to attach those little handles. Now, they're not really functional, although you could pick it up because this is very light. But this is more of a decor piece than a functional piece. This is going to be just fine with hot glue. Of course, you could use E6000 if you really felt better about it. And after the handle's attached, this is complete. This was really fun to make, and I think it came out actually pretty cool, and I love that I used the Hot Wheel charms.
Every change has a reason. Baby, let it come to you. Every soul, every season lives outside of status quo.
Really cool birthday board on Pinterest. Now, I've seen lots of these and I've been wanting to make one for a while because we have a pretty big family and it is hard to keep track of all those birthdays. So I'm going to take this one and use it for inspiration so it won't be an exact dupe. I found these really cool tags on Amazon and it'll be linked in my Amazon store. And then I've got this sign from the Dollar Tree, which is really 3 little squares kind of pieced together. I'm going to take those apart. And then I have some scrap wood, little shims. And then I'm going to use crystal and ballet slipper, celery and cashew, and plaster. And then I do use little antique wax and of course my Kills All-Purpose white primer. I'm going to go ahead and remove the tags. I'm going to use this really cool staple remover that I got on Amazon. I'll have that in my store as well. Just takes the staples out like it's nothing. And then I'm going to sand down the area where the staples were. Then I'm going to take my signs, I'm going to turn them over, and I'm going to use those shims or scrap pieces of wood to hot glue the pieces together for extra support. And now I just have one long board. I'm going to use my Kills white primer and I'm going to paint the whole thing in that primer just to give it a nice base coat. I'll use my heat tool to dry it, also in my Amazon store. And then I'm going to take a ruler and I'm going to draw faux shiplap lines. And I'm not going to make them all even. I really want this to look like a bunch of random pieces of wood put together. I'm going to get my finger wet and smear the pencil marking. Now, if I was going to leave it like this would be fine. I probably didn't need to do this because I did decide later to accentuate them. But I'm also going to take a blade and I'm going to cut into them just to make them actually look like individual pieces of wood. Now, I'm going to alternate the colors that I mentioned earlier. So right now, I first did plaster on the 2 ends and 1 in the middle, and now I'm doing cashew. Then I'm going to do the crystal on the opposing sides. And then I'm going to move in with my celery. And then the last 2 planks are going to be in the ballet slipper. Now this kind of gives it a little bit of a look of like reclaimed wood. So you could almost say this is kind of a coastal vibe, but it's also farmhouse. So, it will go either way. And I just like that about it. It's very, versatile. Now I'm taking the antique wax and this is where I decided to accentuate the little planks. So I just put a drop on and then I'm like smearing it with my finger. Yeah, it gets a little messy, but you know what? It's just paint and it wipes right off. And now I'm going to go around and distress very lightly around the edges. And then I'm going to do a super light dry brushing over the top where you just put a little bit on your brush, wipe most of it off, and drag it across. Now I'm going to take my little sanding sponge from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to go ahead and sand over all of those lines just to blur them a little bit more. Now I'm going to take my Aleene's decoupage and I'm going to go over the top of the whole sign so it's nice and smooth. Now this is the most awesome tool. I got this on Amazon too, and it is a crocodile. Makes holes like it's nothing. These really cool cardboard letters that they're sticky on the back from Walmart. And I just decided to take my black marker and I went over the top of them because I wanted them to be black. I've done this before and it does work out really well. And I'm spelling out the word family. And then I found this liquid adhesive at the Dollar Tree. I've been using it for everything. I love it because it's got a real pointy top. And I'm just placing the words. I didn't center them 100%. Well, I'll be honest, I thought I was, but obviously I don't center very well. So it's off center and now I'm going to go with that. So I'm putting on the word family individually, all the letters with my little adhesive. And I'm going to use my square to try to put them on straight. If I can't center it, at least hopefully I can put them on level. Then I'm going to use these decals from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to use the little like leaves and I'm just going to put them right on because they're already sticky. I'm going to put some off to the right and later I'm going to add some to the left. And I'm going to use my blade to cut them where the planks are because I want them to look like they're on separate planks. And now I'm going to use a pencil and I'm going to write in cursive, life's greatest blessing. And I'm just going to go over that with a black marker. And I'm going to use my heat tool to dry it so I don't accidentally smudge it. Now I'm just going to freehand the months of the year. I'm going to use that crocodile again, and I'm going to punch a hole for each of the months. Literally, this thing goes through everything like butter. Wood, metal, cardboard, you name it, plastic. There's no effort. If you have arthritis, this is a tool you should really get. It will help you so much. I'm going to put some of my Aleene's decoupage right over those decals to make sure they stay in place. And then I'm going to get my craft paper and hot glue it to the back. And then I'll take a blade and some scissors and I will just go ahead and trim that off and make sure that you can't see it from the front. Now I'm going to go ahead and add my decoupage solution over the top of all of my months and then Life's Greatest Blessing, because I want to make sure that stays in place and it doesn't get smudged. And I'm going to poke back through the holes since I put the craft paper on. You can't see them. I'm going to use a pointy pencil and just point through each of the holes for the months and the top two that I'm going to hang it from. And then I'm going to take some jute twine from the Dollar Tree and I'm just going to tie a knot and wrap it around the holes at the top for each of the hangers. Now I filled out all the little tags off camera and attached them to the sign. And so I'm going to show you a picture of what that looks like. It would just have taken so long on the video. So there are all the birthdays. It's not even everybody. It's just the close family members. And here it is, you guys. It's so practical. It's going to hang in my husband's office area. Now we have a way to see them and I'm so excited about it. Inspiration decor piece is a really cute buffalo check welcome mat, but for $25 I thought I could do it for less. So I found one of the doormats at Dollar Tree, and I'm not going to give you the full tutorial on how to do your own buffalo check because I have a video where I have a lot of details. I'm going to link that video above in the cards and down below in the description box. And please, after this video, feel free to go check that out to get the very specific instructions. It just takes a long time to explain it, so I'm going to let you just watch. I tape it off. There's about 3 or 4 steps to it. Now, right now, I'm covering up the center because that's where the words welcome are going to be, so that will not be part of the buffalo check pattern, so I want to protect it. So I'm going to go ahead and use the tape, and you create spacers so that you leave that extra row in between. And I'm measuring, but I'm not measuring exactly because I'm looking at the picture and I'm kind of eyeballing it at the same time. So it's a combination of measurements and what looks right to me. And then I figure I can always touch up when I'm all done. Now I do label the tape top and bottom because those pieces go off at one point and then back on. So you want to remember which one was which. I'm using my Kiehl's primer white paint for this. It's just perfect for this project. And I'm doing several coats so I can get as much coverage as possible. So in a nutshell, you have in this particular buffalo check pattern, we'll have like black, gray, white, and off-white. It's basically varying shades of a similar color, unless you're mixing two like red and black. But in this case, I'm mostly doing white, gray, and black. Now for the center of the sign, I didn't have the exact color, so I just kind of made this up as I went. So I used a little bit of a cream color, some of the pumpkin from Waverly, and then I added a little bit of burnt umber because it just needed to go a little darker. And I came up with this color, have no idea what to call it, but it's similar to what the picture had. And that's what I'm going to paint that inside rectangle. Now you might notice a couple areas where I'm going to need to do some touch-ups, and I go ahead and do that later. But for now, I'm just going to try to get this center part done. I am going to use my Cricut to create a stencil for the word welcome. I tried to replicate the font that they had in the picture. Again, I'm not sure what the name was. And I'm using some masking tape as transfer tape. I'm going to go ahead and varnish the stencil to my transfer tape and then take that off. Then I'm going to lay it down on top of my mat, try to center it in that center area. And then with using my little weeding tool, I'm going to pull off the transfer tape and leave the stencil behind. Now, if you didn't have a cutting machine, you could certainly use a stencil with different letters, or if you could find one that says welcome, or you could freehand it if you knew how to do that. I'm going to use my ink chalk paint, which is basically black by Waverly, and I'm going to do several coats so that I can get the darkest lettering possible. And now for the super fun part, which is pulling off the stencil. I got to tell you, I was so surprised how clean the letters were. I thought it was going to bleed for sure, but it didn't, and it looks amazing. So there's the original up above. Tell me what you think. I feel like it came out pretty good. I'd love to know what you think.
Every change has a reason, baby.
Ready for more inspiration? Here's another video I think you'll really like. If you click on it, I will see you there. You are truly a blessing to me. Bye!